Okay, ladies and gents, we are live and we've got a lot to talk about today. We really have, because yet again, we're in this dire situation. We're going to start with the story that's just broken in the last couple of hours, because the unthinkable has happened again. I don't want to talk about it just yet. We'll go over it in a second. But you know what happened a week or two ago with the girls at the nursery slash dance school? Well, we just had another incident, which we'll talk about in a second. We're also going to talk about, gosh, there's so much to go over in such a short space of time. There was another event today, something else. We'll talk about that in a second. We're going to talk about the judges and the what happened with the rioters, and now how you can be arrested and put in prison even if you weren't involved in the rioting. We've got children to be taught. There's new education stuff coming in at school. There's more on Elon Musk. Someone's wanting to do an arrest warrant for his tweets. I mean, we've got, and then we'll end with the US stuff with the deployment to the Middle East. So we've got loads, absolutely loads to talk about. So let's get straight into it then. Here we go. So here we go. Security guard disarms. In fact, I can't even say this word. You can read it here. After girl 11 and woman 34 in Leicester Square. So yet again, it has occurred. Now, what's interesting, look at this image here. And I'm going to show you something in a second, which is a shot from a different, here we go. It's from same spot, same location, but from the other angle here. And we'll talk about what happened there in 2022. So Abdullah, 29, said he heard a scream, then jumped on the man who was attacking the child before holding him down and taking the, off him. I just saw a kid getting, see, I can't even speak these words on YouTube, by the way. It's crazy. This is the censorship we now have. And I just tried to save her. It's my duty to save them, he said. Abdullah said he and his colleagues gave first aid to the child before police arrived. There is no suggestion the incident is terror-related, they're saying again. Okay, so this is what actually happened here. A couple more people joined as well, and we just held him until the police came. It took maybe 3 to 4 minutes for the police to arrive, and they took him into custody. Now, they were very quick to identify the person, which I thought was interesting. Normally, they don't give any information. A witness who performs as Darth Vader, okay, random, said he saw a young, white, skinny male dressed in a black t-shirt and jeans, putting the girl in a headlock, and then, yes, doing that. So we got a description. Now, usually they never give a description, ever. It just takes a long time. So it's quite, either there's two reasons. One, because it's a white person, or two, because they don't want more riots to start up. But either way, that's just the description from one person. We don't actually know. We can't even speculate. I'm not even allowed to speculate on this. I've got my new terms and conditions through, which is crazy. But do you remember this from 2022, September, almost 2 years to the day, police officers in red near Leicester Square in central London. I don't know if you remember this story. It was absolutely brutal. You can read about it if you really want to, but it was brutal what took place. It shows the man, his name was Mohammed Rahman, and he actually did get charged, and he got 20 years to life for the attack. So we did actually see him prosecuted and go to prison. But again, we won't go into all that. Another thing that just came up, teenage girl admits triple school. Again, we're having the same thing. There's a serious problem in the UK. It's so bizarre as well. We'll come back to this in a second. Because today is about 35 degrees Celsius in the UK. That's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So you got this beautiful weather for the first time. The summer has finally arrived. People are complaining already. It's too hot. It's too hot. No air conditioning in the UK. So you got this beautiful weather now. It's about 22 degrees here on my property. Just lovely. But then you're sort of seeing all this stuff going on. And it's just all this bad stuff is going on in the UK and around the world. It's so sad that we have to keep seeing all of this. Man in critical condition after police shot him in Surrey village. So there was some sort of a fight broke out involving weapons. So this happened today. I mean, this is just crazy. The UK is so small, and all this is happening. But this is the one we've got to give comment on first. You will be refused bail even if you only watched riots from the sidelines, judge warns. This is right out of the 1984 playbook, where the active participation, or what's this word? Curious observer. So if you are curious and you just go to have a look, oh, what's going on here? Let me see what's happening, this protest, this riot. You can be sentenced and go to prison. Some of these sentences are so harsh. They're talking about 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years. There's all these people now. I think it's about 900. Is it 900 arrests, or it's something similar to that number now? And about half of them have already been prosecuted. And as far as I'm aware, every single person who's been prosecuted is in what they call custody, which means is in prison right now. So it's crazy. You know, thought crimes now. We'll come on to thought crimes in a second and what they're doing with the children in the schools. They're going to educate the children. That, again, is right out of, do you remember at the start of the book 1984, written in 1948 by George Orwell, how the kids were trained to spy on the parents? Well, we'll talk about that in a second with this new education program. I'll tell you, if I had kids in British schools, they'd be homeschooled right away. I'm pulling them out. No, there's no doubt I'd have them straight out of there. Goodness me. So even if you're a curious observer, you can be locked up. A judge has warned that anybody present, so if you're just present at the riot, you're not involved, will be remanded in custody, sent to prison, even if they were only a curious observer. That is insanity. He said someone's presence at a riot made them involved in the riot, as he refused 2 bail applications. I mean, why would you even refuse bail? One of them was only 18 years old. Here we go. Where's this kid going to go? 18 years old. What, you think he's going to jump on a plane to Australia or something? Anyway, periphery of the scene. This is what they're saying. Armstrong's solicitor said his client had never come to the attention of the police before. He's never been in trouble before. He admitted just going to have a look, what they called periphery of the scene. He was not involved in any of the disorder. One of the police officers said he wasn't involved in the disorder as well. He was just there. He was just having a look. Well, what the heck? He's been arrested and he's in prison. I'm not making this up. Look it up for yourself. I am not joking. When asked by the judge what he was doing at the scene, the defense solicitor told the court Armstrong had gone to the area to have a look, adding that he had left when all the everything started kicking off, petrol bombs and stuff like that. And the judge says he doesn't have to throw a petrol bomb or a brick to be involved in disorder if he's present at disorder. This guy is, I wonder if he's okay. I wonder if this judge is okay, the stuff he's saying. Remanded into custody, aka he's in prison. The judge refused bail. Anybody involving themselves in this type of behavior, this type of disorder, as an active participant or a curious observer. Hold on. We've got to get the distinction here. He's classifying an active participant, someone throwing a petrol bomb, with someone stood on the sidelines going, oh my goodness, look at that. Maybe they're filming a little bit. Maybe you're a YouTuber and you've got your camera on your little tripod there and you're just filming it. I mean, do you have a press license? Do you have a media license? I don't. I'm just filming it for my YouTube channel. Right, you're under arrest. You're nicked, mate. You're going to prison. What for? For being what do they call it? A peripheral observer. Well, whatever the heck they're calling this. Oh my goodness. Are we living in communism here or what? So, yeah, he said, no, unfortunately, you're going into prison. That's it. You're remanded into custody and we'll set a trial date for you. That's it, basically. Okay, now let's talk about this new one, which I've heard a few people talk about over the last couple of days, but I don't think people have really grasped the concept of what is actually happening here. Because remember, whenever they do this stuff, like they're training, they're educating children in schools for X, you've always got to look at that and say, okay, what is it they're educating them in? But what could that become? And I think that's the question people aren't asking. So they're going to be training children in how to spot misinformation online and how to look at, in fact, I'm going to tell you the points from the story so it's more accurate. Education Secretary launches review of curriculum in primary and secondary schools aimed at teaching critical thinking. So in the US, Canada, I think this is sort of, I think primary, so it's 4-year-olds to 11, and then secondary school would be 11 to 16, something like that. That's the sort of age group we're talking about here. So children are going to be taught how to spot extremist content and misinformation online under planned changes to the school curriculum. It's amazing how they've used these riots to bring in so much new proposals. So they're launching a review on the curriculum to embed, wow, that's a strong word, to embed critical thinking. Oh, the irony. It's not critical thinking, though. That's why it's so laughable. It's the opposite of critical thinking across multiple subjects and arm children against putrid conspiracy theories. Oh, yeah, we've heard all, just like the conspiracy theories of the last few years, all these things coming out, which then become conspiracy facts. One example may include pupils analyzing newspaper art. Well, there you go. We've already disqualified the whole thing. Newspapers, yeah, they're all owned by the same bloke, in English lessons in a way that would help differentiate fabricated stories from true reporting. There's no possible way a kid would know that anyway. It doesn't matter how clever the kid. This is unbelievable. Critical thinking. You think about, in fact, let's look at that statement a second. Schools don't teach critical thinking anyway. They teach IQ-based education as opposed to EQ-based education. So what do? You go through the curriculum. It doesn't matter whether you are more artistic, whether you're more sort of, a bookworm. It doesn't really matter. It's the same kind of curriculum, unless you go to some of these more specialist schools, which do exist. So are you really getting trained in critical thinking? No, not really. You're being taught, learn, memorize facts, information. Now, there are a lot of good teachers out there. I have friends who are teachers and they do a great job, but I know from their frustrations they share with me how they have to teach certain things they don't want to teach, sex ed, stuff like that. And then with a lot of the new stuff coming through, but my goodness, this is, and then here's what they're going to be able to do. Ready? It's important that we give the young people the knowledge and skills to be able to challenge what they see online. So this is stage 1, but I guarantee you stage 2 will be report what they see online. So they're going to be reporting, and then you've got to think about what kids will do if they're trained on the next level. What would the next level be? It's parents at home. Oh, what if you hear your parents talking about XYZ? Oh, that is far right extreme. That's terrorism. What did he say? He said a bad word about the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He said something about an immigrant. He said something about that. What, he said immigrants who are economic migrants who are not fleeing persecution, they should be sent back home. That is terrorism. Lock that person up for 20 years. Good job, little Susie, for reporting your parents there. I'm not joking here. This is where this sort of stuff leads to. We've seen it before. Misinformation spread on social media about the background and religion of the suspect in the stabbing of 3 young girls in Southport. Darn it, I just said the word. That's going to get censored, the video now. Has been blamed for the rioting led by the far right across the UK. Specialist officers are pursuing suspected online offenders and influencers. So this is actually happening, by the way, now. So there's 2 types of influencers. There's people who influenced, and then there's people who are social media influencers. And we've already got 2 or 3 cases of social media influencers at the moment who are being pursued. They are being investigated. So fortunately, I'm not one of them, but we'll have to see. I mean, the secret is you've got to learn about law. If you don't understand how the law works, you're in big trouble. But you have the right to remain silent. If I got arrested for even talking about the stuff I'm talking about here, I would just not say a word. You have the right to remain silent. There's two parts of the law. We'll talk about in another video. But anyway, keep going. Keir Starmer suggested on Friday he would look at strengthening social media regulations further after Sadiq Khan said the legislation was not fit for purpose. So Starmer's now taking his marching orders by Sadiq Khan, is he? Okay, that's interesting. Elon Musk should face arrest if he incited UK rioters. There's a big push for this at the moment, by the way, to arrest Elon Musk and have him come to the UK to stand trial. This is growing. It was big last week and it's even bigger this week. And then we've got, this just came out on Sky News, more than 700 migrants arrived in the UK in 11 boats in a single day. Keir Starmer said he's going to smash the gangs. So when I said this, I was called a conspiracy theorist and I was censored and I had a 1-week ban from YouTube. When I did that investigation, you remember when I did that really detailed investigation in Europe, and there was lots of interviews and the people were saying how they were getting here. They were paying between 3,000 and 7,000 euros for their ticket on the boat. And I talked about that, and I was called a conspiracy theorist, a right-wing, all the usual nonsense. And now Keir Starmer's coming out and saying, oh, that's true, and we're going to smash the gangs and take care of it. It's like, give me a break. So one person can't say it, another person can say it. It's unbelievable, really. Okay, last real quick articles just to get you up to date. Britain has warned Iran against attacking Israel as the US sends a submarine. It's not just the US, it's France and Germany as well. They are threatening some pretty serious actions if Iran responds or retaliates to the drone strike on their soil. And the US has ordered the strike group to accelerate deployment to the Middle East. It's actually sending more and more now to the Middle East. They're saying it's looking very likely that we're going to have a breakout. Now, the problem here is that the US is being very clear and taking... The thing is, it's really strange. If you start looking into this properly, you've got Israel and you've got Iran. They're the main company. You've got Lebanon, Syria, etc. as well. There's a lot going on there. But it's just interesting how the UK jumps in right away. Keir Starmer does his big speech. Look at me, look how tough I am. I'm Keir. Oh gosh, I'm going to get arrested. There'll be a knock at the door in a second. What did you say about Keir Starmer? You're under arrest. Right, he does this big speech. We are, not going to allow aggression from Iran against Israel and all this. It's like, okay, no, it's both ways. It's going both ways. They're saying Iran's going to retaliate. That means something was done first, right? It's like, and again, I get they are funding everything and they're funding the groups that are attacking Israel. I'm not getting into all that. I'm just giving it based on this really simple point here. He's getting involved and he's like, we will send whatever needs to. He's acting like he's going to send the military in. The US wants to send their military in. It's like, what is going on? These people love war. They never ask the people, hey, do you want to get involved in a war between Israel and Iran? You ask anyone, they'll say, no thanks. What's that got to do with me? None of my business. Why would I want to go off fighting? Why do I want to send all my taxpayer money? We've got big problems here. I want to deal with this stuff here. No. These politicians are making it up for us. So we've got Ukraine and all the money going to Ukraine. Actually, they've just hammered Russia in the last few weeks. I'll see if I can cover that story another day. They've sent a big force into Russia. I'll see if I can cover that this week, actually, what's going on there. But yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on. There's just so much craziness going on around the world. What more can I say? Every day is just mental. It really is. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for being online. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. Have a nice day if you're enjoying the sunshine. And I'll see you tomorrow.